Hey everybody, welcome to today to the foundational and pre-training of platform tour. This is a special week because you guys get to hear from some incredible people and I'm so excited. So this is streaming in a whole lot of groups. It's going to be streaming in a whole lot more groups next week on YouTube, on Facebook, our platform community, Instagram, our Rise Up World community. And so super excited about today. Because I believe there's two things that prevent you from growing your business and growing your platform. And if we don't tackle some of that stuff in the pre-training and tackle it actually during the platform tour, it's going to continue to get in the way. The first thing that gets in the way is your mindset about your thoughts and emotions and the negativity that's brought into your mind and how it prohibits you. Like, you are one of the folks that get in the way of going after your goals and dreams. I know I am, because of the negativity that's going on up here. Sometimes the lack of productivity, the lack of compassion, the lack of focus, the lack of that. And you can count on that. I've got some of the best people in the world, including another Garrett White, and many others that are going to be tackling the mindset that you have around yourself.
You know, Garrett White just opened on my comedy tour for me in La Jolla, Pete. I put him up on the stage because I don't know if you know, he was my CEO for 9 months. Way back
I knew that.
And so I just figured, why not throw him up on a comedy stage? And he absolutely crushed it. So it was really great.
Guys, I know you all know I'm a man of faith. That was not Jesus talking to me right now. I know y'all thought, man, Pete's got some profound powers right there. He always talks about getting downloads. That wasn't the Jesus that I hear from right there. That was another.
This is money Jesus.
This is money Jesus.
I'm like Disney Jesus.
Yes,
I'm the Jesus you want to take a selfie with at Whole Foods. You know what I'm saying? Or the thing is that Jesus saves, this one spends. So
yes, big difference. Big difference. We got the saver and the spender. And so I'm stoked because today you're hearing from the guy that I'm going to give a more formal introduction to here in just a second. But today, the other thing I think gets in your mind with not building your platform is your mindset and your thoughts about money. Is your mindset and your thoughts around money. There are so many different people that have so many different mindsets and thoughts around money. Like, I used to grow up thinking money was a bad thing because I grew up in the faith-based world where, like, I'm just telling you, my experience was so much scarcity. And as I began to study the scriptures, I started realizing that it was something talked about a lot. And it was a resource that allowed things to actually happen. Like, I don't know if you know this, and for all of my ladies that are watching today, there were several females who funded the ministry of Jesus Christ, like actually funded it. It's talked about in the Gospels. And so even this man who walked this earth and fulfilled all of these incredible things had money, that resources that funded the things that he did. And so my mindset growing up was, I can never make enough. There's always going to be a ceiling. It's a bad thing. And then as I started understanding it, it wasn't money that was a bad thing. It's the love of it, where you make it an idol, you make it a God. I make it a resource and a tool that allows me to do incredible things in this world, including giving away a lot of money in Platform Tour. Our goal is $1 million to give away. And it's going to take you watching this in order for us to do that. But today, before we get into all of the strategies next week, all of the tactical strategies of what it takes to build your platform, with Floyd Mayweather and Grant Cardone and Emmitt Smith kicking us off on Monday. He's been the best in the world at 3 different things that he's done in his life. How do you be the best in the world in 3 different things? Like, we're going to dive in all that. And we're going to dive into you and the things that have you get in your way. But today, here in just about 1 minute, we're going to dive into the money, and we're going to do it in a fun way. And so I'll bring that back up, but you're not going to want to miss today. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss today. So here's what I want to say. If you are watching and you have not registered for Platform Tour, like, you've got a few days left. Our registrations continue to double every day. Like, we've seen more and more and more people registering from all across the world. Make sure you go to platformtour.com theplatformtour.com, theplatformtour.com if you have not registered. Now, here's the other thing. For those of you that have registered and you're not VIP, like, trust me, you want to be VIP because VIP will go backstage every day with the speakers. VIP will also get the recordings of all of the platform tour as well, lifetime access to it. And so it's $67, and the price doesn't go up on Sunday night. VIP goes away on Sunday night. Like, you won't even have the ability to get VIP on Monday. It goes away on Sunday. So make sure, if you're watching, that you go to platformtourvip.com. If you have not gotten VIP, make sure you go to platformtourvip.com. And I'm telling you, all of the profits of this tour go back to charity, all of them. And so you can count on that. So that's what I want to say. So today, let's talk about money, because for some of you, it's like $67. Oh my gosh. And if you're scared with $67, this next guy's really going to scare you, because this is what I want to do. He's currently got a multiple city tour going on across America, a comedy tour that's going on around money. So I said, let's lighten the mood before we start diving into the depths and me asking you some hard questions about money. How about we have you start us off with a little bit of the comedy show around money? So we're going to have him start with comedy. It's something we've never done. Actually, Keith Yackey and I did it, and it was a bust on our yacht cruise. So I'm hoping this isn't another bust today.
The bar's set low. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. That's a good way to start.
Yes, but afterwards, I'm telling you, we will ask questions. And team, if you can pay attention to the social, I want some questions that are maybe coming on social. Today, I'm going to open it up for the first time to questions that people have around money. I'm excited to bring you my friend. This is the guy that Kim and I went to when we started our journey of trying to understand how to have our money work for us, how to understand what money was about. Like, is it good? Is it bad? How do you use it for good? Like, what do we do with it? And most importantly, how do I create enough passive income that supports my life so that I can do the things I'm passionate about and not have to do anything that I don't want to do? And so this is the guy that I found. This is the guy that I went to. This is the guy that I hired. Spent $25,000, $30,000 on his program. And today we're going to go behind the scenes. There's no offer he's making. He is supporting us in this charity endeavor. But I told him, Garrett, we got to break through the money mindset stuff and talk about money today before we dive deep into the tactical strategies of building your platform. And so, ladies and gentlemen, and the crowd that's backstage, would y'all give a huge warm welcome to my buddy, Mr. Garrett Gunderson.
Pete, now, first off, let's say you've got this thing, advance your reach. And when you became financially independent, you literally advanced your reach because you had the ability to swing for the fences in what you do. And that's what you do. You swing for the fences in what you're up to, raising $1 million. And so the ask that you asked me before, the answer is yes, I just got approval. So we'll be contributing some additional resources to those people that jump in and do stuff. So, and those are, of course, is valued, very, very high value as far as the investment. Now, by the way, and when you dropped the 25 grand, that was old Pete. That wasn't clean teeth Pete. That was like Pete, like, you know, not sure where you're living and if you're in your car or in a house. And now you're like the kingdom Pete, where you got like multiple places and doing so many things. So, you know, like Pete put his money where his mouth was when it was really a big investment decision. So I acknowledge you for that. You know, I love watching everything that you've done. So,
thank you.
All right. Money. Whoever thought 6 inches could be so destructive? I mean, no girl I ever dated. I mean, it could be more disappointing. It could be Canadian. Money is a lot like sex. If you get a little, you want more. You spend a lot of time chasing it and it's gone in minutes. You always think your friends have more than you. And if you're not very skilled at getting it, don't plan on having very much. Look, I wrote a New York Times bestselling book called Killing Sacred Cows. And Thank you. I appreciate the applause. Oh, wait, Pete didn't even clap. Thanks, dude. And it sounds cool, but you know what? The very first time I did a podcast, the guy kept saying, oh, author of Killing Scared Crows. Killing Scared Crows. What am I, an apparent bird murder enthusiast? And at the end, he goes, hey, what should I invest in? I'm like, glasses, literacy, a new career. Like, it wasn't a book about any of that kind of stuff. It was a book about money myths. Although, you know, these myths are the things that kind of hold people back. Myths like high risk equals high return. What drunken Wall Street idiot came up with this idea? Risk means chance of losing. So how does increasing your chance of losing help you win? Oh, Pete, sorry that you risked and lost all your money in Vegas, but don't worry, you're in it for the long haul. Oh, the long haul. That, you never hear that about anything good. Sounds like condolences. You know, you don't want to get a call from your mechanic or your dentist telling you you're in it for the long haul. Why do you want to hear that from your retirement planner? You wouldn't. The only people in it for the long haul are truckers. And that's one long haul you don't want to make. It's all speed and hemorrhoids, just pushing through, trying to get to your destination. Oh, hell, it does sound a lot like retirement. You guys ever hear money's the root of all evil? You know, you hear people say that. Is it really the root of all evil? Or is it more about what people will do for it or because of it? Always makes me wonder. You think Satan's pissed off when money gets the credit he feels he deserves? Just sitting there in hell being like, that wasn't money, that was me. And Pete, that's how Satan sounds. He's totally whiny like that. You know, just sitting there being like, why in the hell isn't my picture on it? Well, you're not white, Mr. Satan. Am I allowed to say that? I mean, it's just the way it is. So you ever hear that it's not personal, it's business? Now that's evil. That's what someone says right before they screw you over. But I promise you, when they do, it's going to feel real personal right in your business. See, like, isn't it crazy that people trust Wall Street with their money? Like, does Wall Street have the kind of reputation that you trust in any other business? I mean, first off, let's think about the movies about it. Wall Street, it's a movie about legalized white-collar crime. Wolf of Wall Street, white-collar crime, but with more drugs. Boiler Room, white-collar crime, more drugs, and Ben Affleck for some reason. Seriously, what's scarier, Wall Street or Elm Street? I think Nightmare on Elm Street 16, Freddy's back, but this time he's your broker. Yeah, like, by the way, like, if Wall Street had other businesses, like, Pete, would you ever take your kids to Wall Street daycare? Go to pick them up, they're like, hey, sorry, we had a tough day, we lost 8% of your child, but it's just toes, and I think those grow back right. Plus, we may have mixed up the formula with the cocaine. We got a little suspect when there was an inside the park home run, picked up the toys twice, skipped the nap, beat up the school bully, and got a bloody nose. But hey, we don't think it's from a fight. We just think it's a side effect of cocaine. Asking Wall Street to handle your money is like asking an arsonist to run the fire department. It's like asking a stripper if you're handsome. Well, you certainly are while you're paying me. What's in your wallet? Not even self-esteem when Cheyenne gets done with you. Turns out she's not shy at all. Nope. Now there's cryptocurrency, whatever the hell that is. Sounds like a crypt, which is fitting since it'll actually probably bury our dead presidents. And I'm not talking about Biden in 2023, so chill. I'm talking about all the, you know, white guys on your money and Alexander Hamilton and Benjamin Franklin, who weren't presidents. But you know what? Hamilton was on Broadway, so even better, right? I don't know. Like, how are you going to impress Cheyenne then? You can't make it rain with a digital wallet. Hey, can I pay you with Venmo? Venmo, do you take Venmo? Oh, it's a weird place for a QR code. We used to call that a tramp stamp, but that's nifty. I'm going to tip you. Can I say it was for companionship? For companionship. Pete, how long do you want me to go? I could go for days on jokes.
Keep going, bro. Keep going.
All right, yeah. And by the way, I just got to say, Miranda's given me like the biggest laugh. So she's basically the main audience I'm looking at. She's been laughing the entire time. So I'm seeing what I could do to get that going, you know? Yeah. I mean, I just feel like it's crazy because now we got to worry about inflation, right? So not only is there Wall Street, we got to worry about inflation. Inflation sounds like things should be rising, but apparently money's flaccid. Plus inflation's just killing all of our made up stuff. How about I don't know, the tooth fairy? Like, how much are we supposed to leave now? My nephew was complaining the other day about some coins that he got when his friend Jeremy got $10. I'm like, oh, your friend Jeremy's parents are a-holes ruining it for the rest of us. We didn't about the fairy who likes teeth, so kids feel less awkward about having a mouth that looks like a shooting gallery. That's extortion that we invented. Plus there's Santa. How much are we supposed to spend on this lie? Old timers used to get a sock with an orange in it, maybe a candy cane if they behaved well. Back in my day, it was choo-choo trains and Lincoln logs and maybe a baseball. These are the kind of toys you could believe were made by elves at the North Pole. Now it's all PlayStations and iPhones, which should flat out ruin the myth because we all know the North Pole's not in China. How about the Easter Bunny? Really? The Easter Bunny? That's just third-tier cosplay kids are using to dupe us into buying them gifts. Plus, the Easter Bunny's a jerk. Every other character brings you things. He's the only one that hides them from you. Hey, kids, go spend 15 minutes looking for an unwrapped Skittle and grandma's loose change. Plus, the Easter Bunny just stands there all soulless and stupid with his idiot face and carrot. I mean, how are kids not creeped out? Really? Yeah. Look, I just feel like my kids are too smart for these kind of things. My youngest just learned the truth about everything. The Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, 9/11. He handled it pretty well. I love it. Like, Miranda just left her screen because she's laughing so hard. I mean, my son is a smart and curious kid. All right. Like the other day, he asked me, "Hey, Dad, how do banks make money?" I was like, "Oh, wait, I'm a financial guy. This is going to be great. Wait till I tell him." Well, son, the bank, they rent your money by giving you a tiny bit of interest, then they turn around and rent it out to other people for a much higher rate of interest. He's like, "Dad, what's a tiny bit of interest?" "Oh, it's what your mom has every time I tell a joke." He's like, but Dad, what if they lose your money?" "Oh, don't worry, son. That's why we have the FDIC to insure it." He's like, an insurance company?" "Well, not exactly. It's the government that insures this with the taxes we pay." "So they just pay us back with our own money?" "Yeah." "So is that why they give you a lollipop, sucker? Because you're a dum-dum?" "Yeah. I wasn't sure if I should kick him out of the car or add him to my financial team." I mean, I kind of feel like my kids are stupid geniuses, meaning they're absolutely genius at making me think they're stupid. And they're not at all. Like, they can understand the most advanced technology past the most complex video game. I think these professional code breakers cracked my 17-digit Apple ID passcode the other day so they could buy some stuff. But then when I ask them to do something around the house, they pretend like they can't do or understand anything. I'm like, "Hey, kids, sweep the porch." They're like, "What's a sweep?" "Oh, I mean, like, hold a broom and walk forward." They just let it fall out of their hands, being like, "Dad, how's this supposed to work? It doesn't even have a power button. Is there a Wi-Fi passcode on this?" I'm like, "You don't work. Is that why you don't have a power button?" I don't know. Stupid genius, you know. And then I start showing them how to do it like an idiot, knowing full well the whole time everybody knows how sweeping works. I finish. They're like, "Dad, we're so proud of you. We'd hate to take that away." Yeah, I don't know. These kids. My wife had me go get a bank account for my youngest son the other day. And I went to go to the bank, but I didn't have a mask and they wouldn't let me in. It just made me long for the days where people wearing masks were actually robbing from you. But at least when I got a mask on and went in the bank, all the tellers had one on. So I'm like, I know exactly what's going on here now. Yes. Banks have the biggest buildings in every city. They have rooms just for their money. Pete, do you have a room just for your money in your house? And you're a gangster and you don't even have a room just for your money, right? I don't know. Like, people say it takes money to make money, but it never takes the bank's money. It takes your money for them to make money. Anyone that says it takes money to make money or you have to spend money to make money is trying to separate you from your money. It's like the chicken and the egg scenario. Which came first? And who bought dinner? I mean, like, money didn't have money babies, did it? Like, who made the first money printing press? Was it like these people could have just kept the machine for themselves. Instead, the bank's like, we'll give you the first few pieces. Oh, wow, thanks, the bank. And then if you want to get a loan from the bank, they want to embarrass you even more. So tell me about all the times you've screwed up. That's what they ask. It's creepy and uncomfortable. So just how big is your wallet? I mean, would you rather get naked physically or fiscally in front of everyone right now? We definitely find out who's faking it then. Oh, I thought it would be bigger is not something a guy wants to hear about their bank account either. But we all think it needs to be bigger because of these people that post pictures of a rented Ferrari or an Airbnb they pretend is their home. I call that the financial dick pic, because you have to be a dick to post a picture like that. And plus, depending on the day, maybe your money's just not as impressive. Like, oh, I was going to buy Bitcoin at 100. I just got out of the market at the wrong time. I promise I have big money. It's shrinkage. It's cold on Wall Street. But it doesn't matter how much money you have, and you got Wall Street taking a piece and banks making bank and inflation. You still have to pay for insurance, which in turn apparently just pays for commercials. Yeah, insurance now have the best commercials, not beer companies, fast food. No, I feel like all the writers for beer commercials, they got so drunk they had to go to AA and they switched teams to insurance. But I think they'll start, reusing old campaigns. What's up? Oh, I just switched and saved 15% switching to Geico. That's what's up. Think about it. Like, how many insurance jingles do you guys know by heart? Okay, you have to unmute. Pete, we're going to test Pete's knowledge out. Geico, 15 minutes.
We'll save you 15%.
Yeah, the last time I listened to a talking lizard, I was on psychedelics and I bought crypto for some reason. Like a good neighbor.
State Farm is there.
Yeah, if you're a good neighbor, you'd leave me the hell alone. You're in good hands. With
Allstate.
Yeah, those disingenuous hands taking money from your pocket, right? And farmers realized how stupid this was. They were like, we are farmers. Dum, 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 dum. Yes, it is dumb. And Liberty didn't even try. They were like, liberty, 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 liberty. Yeah, just say the name 4 times. That'll do. Like, think about it. There's no new spokespeople in any other, area. Tony the Tiger, Ronald McDonald, they've been around Pete and I's whole life. But if we look at the insurance companies, they brought us so many new characters in the last 10 years alone. Progressive has Flo, which is a weird name considering she's dressed all in white, and that's what my wife calls her period. But don't worry, she probably has insurance for that. Look at Miranda just gave me like a I don't know about that one type of look.
Hey, so let me jump in here, because there was a piece that I think, like, I want to jump in right out of the gates, guys. I want to ask some questions, and I want to ask some of your questions. So tell me the motivation. You're going into several cities, taking a tour around money into comedy clubs. Yeah. What was your motivation behind that, Garrett? What was the motivation behind that?
Look, man, people remember 3 times more when they're scared or when they laugh. And I figured rather than scare the shit out of everyone, I should make them laugh.
Don't we think there's enough scared going on right now in our world? Yeah.
Right. So I was like, you know what? This is a topic most people are really intimidated about. They're afraid of. Money is something that they're confused by. And so if I can make them laugh, they'll remember and they'll actually address it in a way they wouldn't address it otherwise. So the jester, back in the day, the court jester would tell the truth about what's going on to the king and the queen, and they wouldn't get killed. Anyone else that would tell the truth, they got killed. So I look at this as being the court jester of finance, because let's face it, when we're dealing with the stress of the world today, a lot of people have regret about what's happened in the past. A lot of people have worry and concern about what's going on and what's going to happen in the future, which means people have a really hard time being present. But when we laugh, we release that worry and have an endorphin that's so positive, and we feel connected to the moment. And when we can laugh at things that would normally be painful, that is the process to progress with our healing. Wow. So we have plenty of comedians talking about religion and politics. We're supposed to be totally taboo, but we don't really have anyone talking about money and finance, simply because who in comedy knows enough about money and finance? It's a topic that is too complicated for them, but I have 21 years experience. I've written 7 books around it, even a New York Times bestseller. So I'm like, I love comedy. From the time I was a kid, I loved telling jokes, even though they were probably inappropriate. It's the only time I didn't get my ass beat for saying something I shouldn't say, because I was repeating things I learned from my uncles. But my grandparents would always get me around. My great-grandma, or not my great-grandma, my grandma just turned 90 years old. And her number 1 request for a birthday party is, am I going to tell jokes? Now, those are jokes that I don't tell publicly. They're just terrible jokes that, for whatever reason, my 90-year-old grandma, who happens to be Mormon, thinks is hilarious. The dirtier, the better for her. You know, maybe it's all the repression and that she's had her whole life of trying to be a good girl. But like, I just see that now I'm going out there in the middle of COVID, and the first 5 cities we did, 4 cities were totally sold out amidst what's happening here. And the testimonials we're getting are like, oh my God, I didn't expect to learn anything, but I actually learned quite a bit. But it was hilarious. It was funny. So I made sure it was funny first and foremost. And so entertainment is the language of the masses. And entertainment can be a gateway to transformation. So I'm here to plant a seed of hope, connection, and expression to help people heal their relationship with money so they can see people and fully express who they are in a way that's consistent with living a more purposeful life. So that's a long answer to your question.
Dude, I got goosebumps because, man, I didn't know you were Dr. Garrett too, because he was just comedian Garrett. But if you just heard what he said, guys, it is a gateway to allow us to transform. Garrett, I had to transform, bro, because it was planted in my mind, and everybody, not everybody, but so many people have so many different mindsets around money. And I know that the good that I've done in this world has superseded and been exponentially greater because of having money as a resource and a tool. The experiences I've created for my kids that I never had as a kid. And I'm not talking about buying them toys and games. I'm talking about experiences like hiking and going to a fitness resort and taking them on trips with me when I go speak and having them serve the event host, or taking them to a football game that I so always wanted to desire, or giving away $350,000 to Sarah Blakely last year to start 150 female entrepreneur businesses, or giving $250,000 to SCORE last year so that they could launch an educational program for Black and Latino minority business owners to be able to have free access to. And now we are responsible for 1 million of them going through it. I couldn't do that as the former version of myself, but the former version of myself, grandma would tell me, it's a bad person. They got money. Don't trust them. Be careful. And I bought into that. And I felt like I was powerful in that scenario, but I wasn't powerful. I became powerful when, no, I don't love money. I don't love it. I love that it's a resource and a tool that allows me to live like the greatest version of myself. Right. And I know there's people out there that ruin that, of the Lambos and VR, all that stuff. But it's a completely different thing for me, Garrett. And I'm about to ask you a really important question. There's a girl named Stormy Wellington who's speaking. She's like, I saw Pete and I heard about all these things he did, and I'm looking at his clothes and his cars, and I'm like, does this guy really because you won't ever see me. Like, I could afford any car that I want, but I don't need one. I need a place where I can freaking do life with my family. I need a place where I can vacation. And oh, by the way, I have no issues that people are renting that vacation home either, because it's making me money. And so, Garrett, you said something that I want you to speak to. There's a couple of things I want you to speak to, and we got some.
That's some great questions. I love the questions coming.
Yeah, but I want to ask you something. It takes money to make money. BS.
Right.
BS. I say all of that because I want every single person to build their platforms so that they can have a greater impact in the world. But in order to have a greater impact in the world, you have to have income, like you just do. So what is your wisdom?
Unless you want to, if you want to live with a loincloth and a bow and arrow out in the woods, then I guess maybe you might not need it. But otherwise, it is really useful. So Pete, here's the thing. What is money? Money is a man-made efficient tool to exchange with one another. Money represents the value that we've created in the past, and it's a snapshot of our current circumstance from a money standpoint, not from it doesn't reflect our potential, and it does not dictate our destiny. It is a representation of value, but it's not why you're valuable. If you want more money, you need to tap into the hidden resources, the first one being your mental capital. Ideas, knowledge, wisdoms, insights, strategies, and resources, right? That's your mental capital. Then we want to multiply that by your relationship capital. People, networks, organizations, mentors, friends, and family. This is what Pete teaches, is how you build relationship capital and how you use a bridge of the stage to get more relationship capital. So our mental capital combined by our relationship capital determines our financial capital. So you are literally one idea or one relationship away from the next level of prosperity, but you have to create a game worth winning. See, vision is the ultimate container in which we create value. Those people that live in the scarcity mindset, that they take more than they give, they live in fear, doubt, and worry, they do not create a compelling vision because survival is not compelling. A vision is something that's beyond your current reach. It requires other people's ability, time, and resources to support you. If you think money is an obstacle, it's you're trying to do too much alone. If you think time is an obstacle, it's because you're trying to do too much by yourself. If you think you don't have the resources to have a vision, you don't have to have the resources in the moment that you're willing to create that vision. You just have to be bold enough to speak it into existence. You just have to be bold enough to speak that vision into existence and allow other support to come in as well. So vision, when we create a compelling vision, a vision is beyond a goal or an objective. Goals or objectives we know how to achieve on our own. A vision requires that additional assistance. So for me, it's to touch the lives of 1 billion people, to plant that seed of hope, connection, and expression, to heal the relationship with money and live a life that they love. I know that the way to get there is through entertainment, through performance, through comedy, and music. So this is the thing. I'm going to tap into my mental capital, my relationship capital. I then utilize that financial capital to reinvest into my vision. And when I have a vision that is worthy of my life, I've already won the game. Value is the way that I play the game. Dollars are the byproduct of playing the game of value. And prosperity becomes my state of being and my consciousness. So the thing is, right now, when we get into a selfish state of survival, we don't think from an expanded consciousness of serving others or solving problems. We get stuck in survival, and scarcity is the greatest destroyer of wealth. No amount of luck, saving, discipline, rate of return, or person on the planet will save you if you believe scarcity is the way. Scarcity is win, lose, zero-sum game. Scarcity is take more than we give. There's only so much to go around. It discounts human ingenuity, human innovation, and ultimately prosperity, and has us believe that only what we see in the moment is what's possible. But vision says, I can see something in my mind and bring it into the world because I'm committed and I'm willing to inspire others to follow, and I'm willing to lead even when I don't know every step of the way. That's part of the faith process. So that's a long answer to your question there, but yes.
I hope people will go back and listen to that, Garrett, because I just recognized, like, you saw me start my journey, like no dollars in. Like, Garrett was one of my first interviews for my company Speaker Payday, which lasted a couple of weeks because that name just didn't resonate with me. And I actually go back to it a little bit and ask, why didn't it resonate? Yes, it is cheesy, but I thought, man, people are going to think payday and think like it's all about the money. And so there was still even a scarcity mindset in the fact of why I didn't stick with that domain, because I think what you said is the greatest killer of wealth is scarcity. It's scarcity, and it's ingrained into us. It's taught to us. It's subconsciously passed down to us, and we don't even recognize it because it's been happening our entire lives, in our homes, in our churches, in our schools, in even what other people teach out there, which is so bogus, and we won't go there too much today. So, Garrett, I love what you said, because I just realized why I've been able to create financial capital. It's because I freaking had an idea. My mental capital, I had an idea. Help people understand how to get their message out to the world on stages so that they can make a bigger impact and make more money. I built relationship capital. Look at the people who I brought to this. Like, the majority of them didn't cost anything. Like, almost all of them didn't, because of what we're doing. And I had a compelling vision, bro. Like, I had a compelling vision, and those are the byproducts of creating financial capital. So even starting in the financial capital bucket is even the wrong way to think. Like, that's even like it seems like you want to start where you said. And so I love what you said, Garrett. Before I get to these questions, because people are posting questions online right now, and Kat's picking some of the ones that I think can benefit everybody. What scarcity? Okay. But what's the other stuff that gets in the way of everybody listening? Like, what's the thing that gets in the way? Because my goal, the reason I have Garrett today, is because next Monday through the following Monday, you're going to understand how to build a platform that can make you as much money as you want possible. But I got to get all of the obstacles and barriers out of the way today before we start that process next week. And so, Garrett, what are the things that you in your 21 years have seen get in the way of people? Obviously, scarcity is one of those, but what other things get in the way, and how do you counter those?
All right, so you're not going to expect these answers from a money guy, but this is I feel the most profound things. Number one, unresolved childhood issues. When we don't deal with things that happen in our childhood, I got hit by a car when I was 3 years old, and I watched my mom, I watched my dad, I watched my grandparents in severe fear, and I learned a faulty lesson that if I'm not perfect, people get in pain. When I was 5 years old, I was molested by 2 older boys, and I lied to my mom for the first time. And so I learned when I'm out in solace by a creek at a place I love, I'm always in danger. And I had to heal these things, because if I didn't, I couldn't be present. And no amount of money will fill the void of the things that we tell ourselves when we don't unconditionally love who we are. When we can love ourselves for the good and the bad, the glory and the imperfections, and accept that we're perfectly imperfect, life it just gets so much better. Number two, we have to pour unconditional love into one other person on this planet as part of the roadmap to unconditionally love ourselves. So who will you become the advocate for in this world? Who will you give all that you are without fear or reservation, because most people don't love enough because they're afraid they might get hurt and they don't want to expose themselves. So we've got to learn to love at the highest capacity for others and turn that back on ourselves. And then it's about time we find a hobby. Everyone is so busy. There's so much noise. Well-intentioned preachers, teachers, family, and friends tell us what we should do, how we should spend our money, what we should do with our time, whether we're lazy or not. And if we can find time for ourselves with a hobby, we can start to listen to the voice within, which is that intuition. Call it a gut feeling, call it inner knowing, call it a light feather to the face. It's so easy to ignore in the moment, but if it's ignored, it turns to unrest and even depression. So if you find a hobby where you lose track of time, where you're not listening to a podcast, where you're doing nothing but loving on yourself, you can remember your purpose that's within you. It's there to be remembered and discovered. It doesn't even have to be earned. It's just you have to accept who you are as a human being on this planet. Now, money, for most people, they're trading their time for it. They're sacrificing, and Pete, this is the thing. Most people have a faulty notion that success requires or begats sacrifice. And if we just sacrifice, things will get better. But look, sacrifice wants us to think it's a temporary guest, the exception, just this once, but it creates habits that permanently stay. It is the thief of progress. It's the enemy of joy. It's misaligned and misinformed, but it'll take us in the wrong direction, surely and slowly over time. There's no lasting win at the expense of another. The consumer condition is scarcity, and it has us believe that we've got to hold it before someone else takes it. Get it or someone else will. But life isn't about what you could take. It's about what you could create for yourself and for others as well. You know, it's not a game of either or just getting yours. It's not a game of I've got you, but a game of I've got you.
Wow.
I've got your back.
Wow. Dude, I hope everybody heard that. It's not a game of I got you. It's I got you. Like, whoa, guys, like, come on. This is like, I'm telling you, next Sunday, not this Sunday, October 17th, I'm going to teach you the greatest strategy that I have never heard anybody teach in any personal development, in anything I've gone to, that will have you succeed and win in this world. And it has a lot to do with what Garrett Gunderson just said right there. A lot to do with what he said. Garrett, I love what somebody asked. How can I heal from financial mistakes I've made in the past and create a plan without guilt? Thank you for that question. Whoever posted that question, thank you for that question. We're going to take a couple of questions, Garrett.
All right, so I've read these questions, and I'm going to find a way to weave them together in a profound way. Now, are you okay if I give you guys a quiz to give people so that they can understand their money persona?
100%, yeah.
Okay, I'll give it to you guys. Can post it, or I could say it now, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, just give it to Kat, and we'll get it to the group.
Yeah, and that quiz will help you determine which of the 4 money personas you are, and that there's a positive, empowered side and a shadow side.
Wow.
And the thing is, once you understand, so for example, one of those is the miser.
Let me ask something. So there's a powerful side and a dark side, like a powerful and a non-powerful to each persona.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Just
want
to make sure.
So the non-powerful side is the miser, is one of the 4 personas. A miser plays a game called preservation. They'll end up with funds they simply will never spend because they're addicted to holding on to what they've got. They'll spend way more time saving money than earning money. They'll discount their time, they'll coupon clip, they'll keep the first dollar they ever earned. It's like my family put cash in coffee cans and they buried it in the cellar. I was a miser. And my wife loves to tell stories of when we were first married and I was a miser, because I'm not a miser anymore. I've healed from that. And my kids one day turned to her and said, "Mom, why was Dad a miser?" And she goes, "Because he thought it would be the best thing to protect our family." Yeah. And so that was so healing for me, because it's right. I was doing what I thought was best with the information that I was given. So the way that, like, I got overextended in real estate at one time in my life, Pete, and I felt so much guilt. But then my wife was like, it's time to forgive yourself. I've forgiven you. And so what happens is we let this past dictate who we're going to be in the future, because we become afraid, which is a form of scarcity. So let me take people through an exercise, because I could teach about scarcity all day, but I'm going to have people experience something here. It'll take a few minutes, but I think it'll be the game changer of what I do today. So I want everybody to close their eyes unless they're driving. And I just want you to relax a little bit here. And I'm going to ask you some questions. And I want you to pay close attention to your thoughts and emotions as I take you through this exercise. And you know what, Pete, I'm going to have to go grab my guitar, because I just think that how could I do an exercise without a little serenade? You know, serenade makes the exercise so much better. So can you guys still hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a few questions here, and you'll pay close attention. So first off, let's just imagine that you have an extra $10 per month coming into your life each and every month for the rest of your life. No taxes, no strings attached. You do with it what you will. What would you do with that $10? How does it make you feel? What are you thinking about? Okay, let's go ahead and add a zero. Let's take it up to $100 each and every month for the rest of your life. What are you going to do with that $100? What are you thinking about? How does it make you feel? All right, let's go ahead and add a zero. Let's take this up to $1,000 each and every month for the rest of your life, no strings attached. What would you do with that money? How does it make you feel? What are you thinking about? All right, you guessed it. We're going to add a zero. We're going to take it up to $10,000 each and every month for the rest of your life. What would you do with that? How does it make you feel? What are you thinking about? Okay, let's add a zero. Let's take it up to $100,000, not once, but $100,000 each and every month for the rest of your life. No taxes, no strings attached. What are you going to do with that? What are you thinking about? How does it make you feel? All right, you guessed it. We're going to add another zero. We're going to take you and make you a millionaire. You know, were we at 10,000 or 100,000? Remind me.
100,000.
Okay, so we can take this up to $1 million now. $1 million each and every month for the rest of your life. Not one time. You're a millionaire every month. What are you going to do with it? What are you thinking about? How does it make you feel? All right. What if you were a billionaire? What if you had $1 billion in your bank account right now? What would you do with that? How does it make you feel? What are you thinking about?
All right, open your eyes. So, at what point did you stop thinking about what the money could do for you and turn your focus to value for others? If your number is 10,000, that's your value index. If you're not sure what to do with larger numbers, I want you to expand your thinking, expand your vision, focus on impact. When we put value first, when money's no longer the primary reason or excuse why we would do or not do something, vision is possible. So, what's life about if it's more than what you need or what you could spend beyond what you could take? Create a vision bigger than your problems. Vision is the ultimate container in which to create value. It tells our brain what's important and what to pay attention to. So let me ask you again, what's your number? When you turn your focus to serving others and solving problems, you've escaped the consumer condition and embraced the producer paradigm. The producer paradigm is one of abundance, where we add more value into the world than we take from it. That's the game. So I could tell you about abundance all day, but abundance is where you're shifted your mind in that exercise beyond survival into there's more that I could do.
So good, bro. It's so good. And so, and I think it's
one-man show. That's a piece of my one-man show, by the way.
There we go. I love it. So like in kind of the last few minutes here, maybe you can, and I know what you just did helped with these 4 questions, but maybe you can tackle the first one and speak anything else that you would to the healing. The second one I'd love you to talk about is, man, there's a few in here. So what would you say to the person about, wow, we got a few here about healing.
How do you heal from financial mistakes? Write down every mistake you've made and ask, how was that of value to you? What did you learn from that? And how has that changed you for the positive? And what could you be grateful for in that? And anyone that you feel you've done harm to, ask for their forgiveness. Okay. Next, how do you get your kids thinking the right way about money? Well, you want to know what their money persona is. You want to start talking to them on these conversations I've had with my son. I mean, my son and I, who's really young, we've been having so many conversations because I wrote a play around money. And even my little nephew, 7 years old, watched the play and loved the whole thing. And it created a new conversation. So find entertaining ways, whether it's through games, whether it's through regular family meetings that you can have. We have our kids get paid in Bitcoin SV. We then talk to them about whether they want to take money out of that or they want to put more money into it. We have them bid jobs. And ultimately, every chance where they're asking a question, I then really dive in because I like to talk to them about scarcity versus abundance. My 13-year-old just started a business, so I'm super excited about that as well.
Hey, Garrett, how about the one that was above that I didn't ask? What's the first step in moving from fear to abundance?
That exercise, I just took them through the exercise of how to leave fear and go to abundance.
Okay, cool.
And look, if you're still struggling with it, go to mentors or peers and tell them when you're in scarcity so they can ask you questions you don't ask yourself. And number 2, find someone you can be of service to so you don't complain about what's going on in your fear. You get into service and then they acknowledge and appreciate you, which rises you above the fear. So those are a couple other situations. And then how do people best convince themselves that they're worthy of achieving wealth? I mean, look, heal your childhood. Heal your childhood. Love another human being unconditionally and start finding ways to love yourself. That's where you're going to feel worthy. As you learn to express love, you will learn to feel worthy of love, which money is a small aspect of love. It isn't love in itself, but it represents someone else's energy, and an act of love or service can also come with money sometimes. So you just have to look and say, what is it about you that you have yet to accept? And if you can learn to accept those things, you're going to find, like, I call these the quirks. Pete, I think the coolest things about you might have been the things you hid back when you were a kid, but they're the things that make you quirky and enjoyable, right? So if we start to embrace our quirks, I think the way we do that is we find our hobbies. We perform some level of art, whether it's having a garden or picking up a guitar or making a great cup of coffee. Like, we've got to embrace art so that we can start to love our life. And if we start to see an inkling of loving our life and we start to open up to people that we know and trust in a way that's very vulnerable. And we start to face our pains with love and compassion. On the other side is connection. We're so disconnected, but love and compassion is what are going to heal. And love is more powerful than fear if we embrace it. We only think of it as weak is when we think of it as being vulnerable because we're only thinking about romantical feelings and not about feelings of a human being. Like I was talking to AJ Harper just before this, who's writing a book with me, and she's brilliant. And she just said some profound things. And I hung up and I said, well, I didn't tell you I loved you, but I just wanted to text and say I love you. And then she said it made her teary-eyed. How often do we get a chance to tell other human beings, a man to another man, a woman, like just letting people know we love them, a handwritten card. Like we start to love ourselves as we express love to others. And if we are always in, well, will they reciprocate? Then we limit who we are. Give your heart over to humanity. There are people that you cannot trust, but there are too many people that you can. And if you just love the people that are not trustworthy from a distance and bring those people in that are trustworthy and give them all that you are, you will have more to give. I went to a Garth Brooks concert just like 6 weeks ago. And I was like, what makes him a great performer is he looks at the crowd and he does this heart symbol, and he's not worried about hitting every note perfectly because he's making eye contact, and he made 50,000 people feel seen. People want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they think they're seen and heard when they have money. Hey, I have money and I have a douchebag car, see me now. And you're like, that's not you. That's a version of you that is a hurt child that has yet to heal, that's asking for love. And everyone out there that feels arrogant is asking you to love them more than they love themselves. The people that are most arrogant become a cheerleader, a fan, and give them some love. That's what they need. Stop judging them, stop pushing them away, because then you start to reflect the worst of who you are versus the best of who you are. And I know this is a money talk, but that's where I'm at in this world.
I love it, dude. Last one. How do you get spouses on the same page, on the same mindset of money?
Look, once I knew my wife's money persona in 2008 and mine, we have yet to have a fight since 2008 about money, because I recognize the positive side of her is the planner. The negative side of her is the conservative, which isn't a political ideology. It's a money personality. And on my positive side, I'm a creator. On my negative side, I'm a striver. Strivers and planners can be at odds because I want to run fast and do it immediately. She wants to be strategic about it and understand why we're doing it. And as soon as I recognized that, I created the space and the structure to support that. And I could see the asset that the planner is. Instead of looking at it as I'm the gas and she's the brakes, I'm looking at it as like, hey, she actually cares about the steering wheel so we don't go off of a cliff. And that's a great thing. And now we're an unstoppable team. So you've got to know the money persona and know the strengths, and then utilize the strengths of theirs and leverage yours. Instead of only looking at the shadow personas and placing blame on the shadow personas. Too many people get stuck in that. And they say money is one of the number one reasons people list for divorce. It's not money that's the issue. It's they stop dreaming about an exciting future and they get caught up in the differences they have around money. But the universe has a sick joke that's kind of funny. You are marrying someone that doesn't have your same money persona, so you could learn about something that you could never experience by yourself. And so if you start to look at that as a blessing, and like some people that are the breadwinners suppress the other person from ever feeling control or being able to spend money, and they feel like a lack of freedom. So when my wife felt that way, I was like, let's have you your own account, and whatever money's in that account, you spend however you want. And we have this account that's both of our account where we pay for bills and stuff. And then we have an investment account. And then she had more autonomy. She had a lot more control. She had less stress. And then as a planner, she says, I want to have this much liquidity. Great. And once we were financially independent, Pete, and I'm like, I want to be a comedian. Rather than her saying, that's a dumb idea. She's like, great. We're economically independent. If you suck, we're going to be okay. If you're good, it'll take longer than you said anyway, but I'm your biggest fan and cheerleader for the most part. She also tells me when I suck more than anyone else. So that's fine, because she doesn't want me to stand on a stage of silence while I'm telling a joke that only I think is funny.
I love it, dude. Hey, so I'll put Garrett on the spot here. Garrett, if we have everybody that does obviously is doing a donation, and we have them all take the quiz, could I twist your arm to do like a 45 or 60-minute training on the personas to help them understand the persona a little bit more powerful?
Yeah. I love talking personas because it's a game changer. It dictates how we make our financial decisions. It uncovers where we make financial mistakes, and it shows us where the gold in us lies to make the better decisions. So absolutely a game changer knowing your money persona.
Hey guys, will y'all give Garrett Gunderson online and everywhere a lot of love as he talked about money today? Give him a lot of love. This is a
Come see me on tour in person.
Yeah, tell him. Yeah, where can they find out about the tour?
GarrettGunderson.com or GarrettGunderson.gg will take them right to the cities. And by the way, FF20 stands for Friends and Family, get $20 off. So I'm giving you the Friends and Family Adventure Reach type of discount here, $20 off. I've got 10 cities left at the time that we're doing this, including Philadelphia, Miami, Boston, Dallas, Austin, Salt Lake, Las Vegas, St. Louis. Like there's a lot of cities yet to, and 4 out of the first 5 cities were totally sold out in the middle of COVID, and that people had a great time. And I got a standing ovation at La Jolla Comedy Store, and the owner came up and said, the first one in 45 years, Pete. So,
Wow.
So we're delivering the goods and giving some cool bonuses. As a matter of fact, if you say that you heard me on this, I'll bring a book, sign it to you, and give it to you as a bonus. So you can pick from my New York Times bestseller, Killing Sacred Cows, or What Would Billionaires Do? And when I sign it, it shouldn't harm the value too much of that book. It should still be okay.
I love it. Hey guys, give some love to Mr. Garrett Gunderson. Give some love. I appreciate it. Thank you, Garrett. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here today, dude.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate you, man. I'm glad you're living the economic independence, investing back in yourself, having a vision, swinging for the fences in that vision, doing things that have never done before because you were bold enough to speak into existence. So congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. Thanks for all your contribution to me. Hey, everybody. So this is what I want to do. I'm going to say something today. And I know Garrett gave me a little code through the middle of it, but I'm going to kind of save that for next week. So listen, this is what we're going to do. I want all of you VIP. I want all of you to upgrade to the recordings because that helps impact charity. So anybody, Kat, that is a VIP, or anybody that upgrades to that, we're going to throw in not only them obviously getting their money persona, which is that's the easy part. The hard part is understanding how to operate within that persona. I didn't have that pre-planned with Garrett. Garrett will come back and do a separate training outside of the tour, and you can bring your significant other to that training to help you understand about your money persona. I don't know about you, but when somebody says they haven't had a fight about money for 13 years since understanding their personas, I see the gals back here, the ladies back here nodding their head. This training would be several $100s, $300 to $500 for you to pay for. I know this because I know Garrett's product suite, and we're going to bonus that in for anybody that makes a decision to upgrade to VIP. So make sure you go to platformtourvip.com, platformtourvip.com. If you haven't registered, them registering for VIP is them registering in general, right? So if you register, if you haven't registered, you're like, I want VIP, go to platformtourvip.com. And if you just want to come in and you want to be a part of the tour for free, just go to theplatformtour.com. And so guys, I will be back to you. I'll be back the next couple of days in here, same time, getting you prepped for what will be an iconic week. And here's what I'm fighting against today. I'm fighting against the scarcity that I've lived in, the fear, the regrets, the pains that I had for so many years around money. I'm fighting against that for you. I'm fighting for financial independence for you. And that's why the topic today that we brought you was exactly the timing of the topic that I wanted to bring today. And so we got to get clear of the finances and the money before we step into the building of the platform. The finances are going to allow you, listen, there was a point today. This is what I'm going to close. I'm not going to tell you the amount, but there was a point where when I was going through that activity and my eyes were closed the whole time, there was an amount where all of a sudden it shifted for me, where it was all about my independence, my financial independent number. And then there was a time where it flipped and I said, that amount would allow me to reverse tithe, which would be keep 10% and give 90% away. That was the shift for me. That's when I got all emotional, because I was thinking about how that would be to do and create in the world, in my family, in my friends, in my staff, but also in all of the charities and the nonprofits. It was just like, whoa. So listen, I want you to be financially independent, but I also want you to be the biggest contributor in a world right now that so needs it, both with your intellect and your gifting, but also with your finances and your money. So make sure you get upgraded. Make sure you get registered. Listen, if you've been blessed today, go share with other people to join the platform tour. Go share it on your socials, tag me. And if I see somebody who shares it in a powerful way, we'll continue to provide incredible resources and gifts to people who are out there advocating, because your friends and your family and people you know, your peers, need to be a part of next week. Remember, VIP goes away on Sunday night. You can count on that. It goes away on Sunday night. The opportunity to be backstage with all of these iconic speakers and get the lifetime recordings, that goes away on Sunday night. So make sure you go to platformtourvip.com. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great